So let's say you are a 25-year-old living in London in the first few years of their career, and for whatever reason you want to become a millionaire. This may or may not be a story about me. So you set yourself a plan and you realise that the easiest way to become a millionaire is by investing consistently for a long period of time, due to the all-powerful compound interest. So you know you'll be a millionaire at some point, but it won't necessarily be for a while. So then you think to yourself, what are you going to do for the next 30 or 40 years? Because I, for one, am not going to be waiting that long to be happy. Need coffee for this. So I don't know about you, but this last year has really made me think about my priorities in life, my priorities in work, and just my priorities. It's made me think what I want to do on a daily basis, what I want to focus on, and most importantly, it's made me think long and hard, that's what she said, about the age-old debate, money versus happiness. So in this slightly different video, I thought I would tackle what I've been thinking about all this and answer why becoming a millionaire won't make you or me happy. But I'd love to know your thoughts about this down in the comments. Money versus happiness. Let's go. So let's start off with a quote from one of my favourite old ancient Greek philosophers, Biggest Smalliest. More money, more problems. Now, while this might be true, and as you get wealthier, you end up having more problems, I think there are only really two sets of problems: money problems and life problems. Credit to Casey Neistat for this. Life problems are finding happiness, finding love, finding purpose, fulfillment, etc., etc. And money problems are housing, food, transport to work, clothes for work. Now, while money does eliminate the money problems out of this equation, it doesn't solve the life problems. Money can't solve life problems. And to turn this around completely on its head, Casey said this:
for most people who are broke, money will literally solve every one of your problems.
And when you're in this situation, you're not thinking about the life problems, you're only focused on the money problems. And they're the biggest problems in your life. And while I know that I have a privileged background, and in my own life I've been very privileged to go to university and get a job straight out of university, and had a very loving, supporting family who had no issues with money. But a few years ago I could definitely relate to these struggles, and when you're only thinking of how you're gonna pay your rent and how you're gonna afford to eat. So in my situation, I got a job which was not a massive salary, around 18,750, and this just, and I mean just, allowed me and Ruby just to move out into our own place. Ruby only had a part-time position at this time, so our overall income was not very much, around 30 grand. And our rent was 12,600. So after tax, our rent and bills were definitely over 60% of our income. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I can remember the exact feeling of struggling to make rent and bills. And I know that there are definitely other people in this situation with kids and stuff like that, which makes everything a lot more stressful. And thankfully we were in a position where it was just us two, so we could get through it and it was fine. But I do think coming out of uni in credit card debt and having to work overtime in order to pay bills that we were due, and when we accidentally broke the hob, etc., etc., these big expenses, they were hard to pay off. But I did teach us a great lesson in that sometimes you just have to do what you've got to do. You've got to put your head down and just go through it, and you'll get through it and you'll come out the other side, and life will be better, everything will be better, because you've been through that little hardship and you can go on and live your life a bit happier and a bit more freer. Since then, we've got to a point where we can live comfortably, all our needs are met comfortably, and we've got a bit of extra money where we can go on holidays and do stuff. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that much in the last year because of COVID, but that's irrelevant to the money. Anyway, moving on. But this has brought us on to the next stage, which is life problems, and mainly finding happiness and all of the other things. So I did a bit of research into happiness in the UK, and it turns out a study done by Raisin shows that Winchester is actually the happiest city in the UK. This also happens to be where I went to university, and the happiness scores significantly dropped as soon as I left. That is not proven. I made that up. And according to the study, the average salary, or the average happiness cost, as they called it, is actually 35 grand, which is not a lot, and it's actually under the average UK annual salary. And this just shows you don't have to earn over and above the average UK salary in order to be happy. You've just got to move to Winchester. Look, it's me, University of Winchester. I'm not lying, it happened. Well, you could, of course, but it just shows that you don't need much money to be happy. So that's good, but what can you do to be happy once you've met your basic needs? So these are just my opinions, but feel free to drop your own words of wisdom about happiness down in the comments. So the first thing is not necessarily how much money you have, it's what you decide to spend it on. According to studies that were done on spending, if you are spending on others, if you're spending on experiences and you're giving away to charity, this provides you with much more happiness than buying material items, which I think everyone knows, but it's worth being said anyway. And for me personally, I've decided to focus on these main things that are really important to me. So the first one is family and friends. So this year, obviously we haven't been able to see majority of our family, majority of our friends, and it just shows how much you do need them in your life in order to have a happy and content life. So that is one thing I want to focus on and make sure that I'm maintaining relationships. The next thing is exercise. Health is wealth. We all know this. I'll be starting that YouTube channel, or am I? I saw a quote when I was researching this and it said, I realised if you're not happy and you don't truly love yourself, then no amount of money will ever make you happy. And while it'd be nice to have loads of money in the bank, it wouldn't necessarily mean that you're more happy. And a way to truly love yourself is by looking after yourself, looking after your health, looking after your mental health, physical health, all of the healths. And exercise is definitely one of these ways that I'm planning on doing it. And the number 3 is enjoying my work. And I've got another quote for you. There's no magic salary that will automatically make your job good. So if you don't enjoy your job now, the more money you're going to get is not going to help. So this really went light switch in the head and sort of solidified some feelings that I've had for a while now. But even saying this, it doesn't really matter what you're doing as long as you're enjoying your work. And there was a little trick that I found when researching this video. If you see your goal at work being solving other people's problems, there will be hundreds of opportunities for you to improve someone's day, improve someone's job, etc., etc., and that will improve your satisfaction of the job as well. So this is why they say helping others helps you. So for me, this YouTube channel, helping people learn more about money and more about investing, blah blah, is a good way of helping people and can help hundreds of people who watch the videos, or if not thousands. And the last point on this is that studies do show that pursuing your passion often ends up more lucrative in the long run. So it may take 10 years, it may take 15, 20, even 30 years, but if you're following your passion, then what can go wrong? So is there anything you think I've missed there? Have I made this all oversimplified, or am I just a simpleton? I'd love you to let me know, but let's just finish on this. According to Raisin again, money can help ease daily stresses and make you actually live longer, and subsequently allowing you to buy happiness. But it's not always the case in life. Their research showed that if you moved to Winchester, you'd have the highest potential of maximizing your happiness, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to make your own happiness. And just like Tony Hawk said, the key to happiness is doing something you love every day. Watch this space.